In a word, the trip was awesome. We were on a safari once in 2017 in South Africa and really enjoyed that. So it really sparked our interest to do another safari. When COVID hit, we, like most of the rest of the world, had to cancel all the trips we had planned, which were several, unfortunately. And in talking to Cindy and talking to some other friends in the fall, we heard that East Africa was open for travelers and relatively safe since it was all outdoors. So we did some research, and uh, A&K had the signature journey available, which worked out great. So we booked that. We were in Kenya and Tanzania, and then we spent 4 nights in Zanzibar after the safari. It was wonderful in every respect. We felt very safe. The flights were not too full. We fortunately we were in business class, and the business class cabins had maybe 5 to 7 people in them. People were very spaced out. Everyone was wearing masks. Um, when we were there, of course, with being on a safari, everything was all outdoors, and we had our own private guide. There was another couple that had the same itinerary that we did on the A&K trip, but they were in one vehicle with their driver guide, and we were in a separate vehicle with our driver guide. And we were in masks when we did that, but we felt very comfortable, felt very safe. There were 7 COVID tests along the way from the start of the journey until we came back home. So that added a safety factor. I mean, we were fine with that, and at least for the ones while we were in Africa, A&K helped to facilitate those. The results all came back in a very timely manner. Um, so it was great. Felt great to travel for the first time in about a year. The trip itself, like I said, was awesome. We were up close and personal to so many animals. We tried to keep track, and I think we couldn't keep track of all the different beautiful birds that we saw. I mean, we saw the big five probably multiple times, or at least four of the big five. We didn't see a lot of leopards, but the remaining big five we saw probably several times a day. We were up close and personal with a lot of lions. There was one day there was a pride of lions, and we were able to follow them on a hunt, which unfortunately for them was not successful. But the male lion, a warthog, had gone into a hole that an aardvark had dug, and the male lion was digging in this hole. And actually, I mean, it's almost his whole body was inverted in this hole. He was not able to get the aardvark. When the lion finally got tuckered out and left, we drove by, and you could see, or the warthog rather, and you could see the warthog's head sticking out to see if it was safe. Um, on the Serengeti, we saw the migration. It was at the southern part of the migration, but just seeing the a million and a half wildebeest all there together, you really can't describe how awesome it is. And just as far as you could see in every direction, there were wildebeest, except every now and then you'd see a kind of a gap in the crowd, and there would either be some lions or hyenas in there, and that's why the wildebeest weren't there. When we saw them, they were grazing, where they just all started to move, and in every direction. They were almost like all getting in a single file line and heading out to their next stop. Again, like it was choreographed. It was just amazing. Um, one of the other unusual things, or two other unusual things that we saw, I didn't realize that pink flamingos migrate like the wildebeest, and we saw a migration of pink flamingos while we were in the Serengeti and on this one lake. I mean, there had to be over 100,000 pink flamingos. They completely filled the lake, and it was just an amazing sight to see that much pink on the body of water. And then cheetahs, which are a difficult animal to see on safari, we had 2 cheetah sightings, and the last one, which was towards the end of our stay in Masai Mara, there was a mother cheetah, and she had 3 little cubs. She had killed a gazelle. We didn't see the kill, but she dragged the gazelle under this bush and was like teaching these little cubs how to eat. And we were there, oh, I don't know, maybe close to an hour. It was fascinating. We're like 5 feet away. watching this, and it was just incredible. Uh, by going when we did, I think the pandemic kept the crowds really low. Like I said, the passenger loads on the flights were very low, but there were very few people in the places where we stayed in the lodges. There were a couple places where we were the only guest. Us and the other couple on the same K trip were the only guest. And the night that we were in Zawadi, now granted, we stayed at a place that only has like 12 villas to begin with. Well, we did. One stay was what was called a tented camp, and it was probably one of the most luxurious places we stayed on the whole trip. It was you didn't really know you were in a tent unless you looked at it from the outside. Um, it was the sanctuary property, the sanctuary Swala. It was stunning. Up close and personal, the animals. We came out of our room one day, and there's a deck there, and there's a big bull elephant grazing like right at the edge of the deck of our room, which was very nice. And again, that added to the safety factor. But they were all very luxurious. The food was excellent. We stayed at two sanctuary properties, the Swala and the Olanana, and they were over the top. And then the Zawadi, where we stayed in Zanzibar, was just phenomenal. It was a gorgeous property, right on the Indian Ocean, outstanding service. And they were all small properties, and we enjoy staying at the small properties. The hotel where we stayed in Nairobi, the the Hemingway was a beautiful property. It was outside of the downtown area, more in a like a secluded, more of a rural area. Hemingway is located on property that at one time was owned by the woman who wrote the book Out of Africa, which was some interesting historical side note there. The staff at all the hotels were wonderful. The service was great. The A&K people were great. Culturally, in the area around Kenya and Tanzania where we were, there's a lot of people from the Maasai tribes. One afternoon, we spent a little time in a Maasai village that was very educational, and it's really interesting to see how they live. It's very different than the way we live. Virtually nothing in the way of modern convenience, from electricity and plumbing and that sort of thing. But they all seemed very happy. Most of them spoke English. In fact, just about everybody spoke English. All the Maasai people and the other folks we met were incredibly friendly. Culturally, Zanzibar was very different. There's much more of an Arabic and Muslim influence there. So, different architecture, different attire, that sort of thing. The guides that we had were all very knowledgeable and very educational. We learned an awful lot about the animals and the way nature works and their habits. And, it was a whole lot more than just going to see animals. Every animal in the chain has a purpose, and it's really interesting to hear. Some are obvious, but some are not, and the guides were very informative. I've worked with Cindy for I don't know how many years now, several years, and my wife and I are both retired. We love to travel, and she kind of knows what we like. She knows that we like smaller properties for hotels, small boutique properties. She knows we like animals. She knows that we're foodies. So after working with her for all these years, she really knows what we like and don't like, and that really helps to streamline and help her to make suggestions when we're planning trips. I really enjoy doing a lot of research myself too. So sometimes when I call her, I'll have suggestions. We want to go here. We want to stay at this place, and do that sort of things. I enjoy doing that, but working with her is very seamless. She does a great job. It really was great, and after being able to go on that trip, we're really anxious to get going again.